Here we go. Welcome to the Scarfie Life podcast, episode number 2. We have a former Otago Uni student, though probably more renowned for his skills on the rugby field, throwing the pigskin around. Beloved Sharky at Dunedin Rugby Club down in Dunedin, obviously. Stints with Otago Rugby, Waikato Rugby, Hawkes Bay, Chiefs and Super Rugby, and obviously the All Blacks. He's now applying his trade over in France with Stade Francais in Paris. The almighty, the ultimate Scarfie himself, Mr. Brad Weber. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me on, old mate. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. And love
How are you over there?
About uni days, so good stuff.
Yeah, nice, mate. Hey, you got I can see the background there, mate. You got some bars up on your windows. What's going on there?
Oh, it's actually coming from my prison cell, mate. It's got locked up.
You've had a couple of rough nights, have you?
Yeah, a bit of the DC and Ali Williams treatment and Paris. Got into a bit of trouble. No, it's a bit of a dodgy area, I think. So they bar up the windows on that side. On this side, it's all good. That side,
it's just that one side, is it?
I think so. Yeah, bit of riffraff down there. I'll go sort it out later.
Yeah. They'll probably take it off when you leave. Awesome, man. Awesome to have you on board. So yeah, we'll just have a chat here, really, man, around pre-uni, during uni, and post-uni, and just your experiences and how that really influenced uni, how uni really influenced who you are, and what we really got out of it. So just a bit of background, mate, about yourself, where were you brought up. Just all yours, mate.
Yeah, like a lot of Scarfies, I was born and bred in the Hawkes Bay. Seems like the connection between Hawkes Bay and Otago is pretty strong. So I'm one of many Hawkes Bay people to have made the trip down south. Had a pretty, I assume probably a relatively normal upbringing in the sunny Hawkes Bay. Went to Napier Boys High School where there's a big group of us that decided in our last year that we'd try and get as far away from our parents as possible, and Otago was probably the best spot for that. So a big bunch of us went down. Had a great upbringing in the Hawkes Bay. I love the place. It's to talk about like a difference in climate going from Hawkes Bay, where it's sunny like pretty much all year round. Even in winter, it's pretty good. You go to the coldest place on what felt like on earth for a Hawkes Bay boy, going down to Dunners, experiencing the first, maybe not the first winter. The first winter in Dunners not too bad because you're in your hall. You got heat. The heating's on all the time, so no dramas. But geez, that first year of flatting in a shitty old flat on Castle Street or wherever, and trying to save money on the old heat pump. Jesus, it's a bit
so and mate, you would have been what 65 k's dripping wet. What were you?
Yeah, lucky to be that. There's that one photo of mine that's kind of gone viral a little bit. Uni days, of me in first year, and I was hung to bits, and my best mate Gareth Evans, who played a lot of rugby as well, played for the Highlanders and stuff. Yeah, we went down together, and he came into my room, and I'd been ordering I've been ordering like these protein buckets of what was called mutant mass, and it was like these big 10 kgs of protein powder of mass gainer, and like the scoops were like the size of my head. Put it in with a bit of milk. And it was like literally like they were so thick it was like drinking a steak, and thinking that this is going to help me put on weight. You like yourself, I was probably 65. That's probably been a bit generous. I was probably a little bit less than that, trying to be a rugby player, trying to train and stuff. And like it says it's going to put on weight, but I'm pretty sure I just shat it all out.
Yeah,
Didn't work.
yeah,
So
and
that photos come up at least sort of once a year on some sort of rugby page. Yeah, they'll tag me in it. So yeah, that'll haunt me for
yeah,
life.
yeah, that's good. And did you get Do you know how you get the what was that the Fresher Five? Did you did you get?
Mate,
Were
I
you
struggled.
the
Mate,
yeah
I was almost the opposite because certainly back then, and probably hasn't been until I hit my 30s that if I have a night out on the piss, I would lose weight. And so, Dunners, you're drinking,
yeah
multiple times a week, most of the time.
yeah
But I was
yeah?
struggling to keep on weight. It hasn't, but it's not until basically now that I've noticed, since I've crossed the 30 barrier, that if I have a night on the beers, I'm starting to put on weight. So, yeah,
Oh,
it only took me another
and it's
4 years, but yeah, I finally got my fresher five.
and yeah, it's come to you. It's haunted you, mate. And
Mate,
it's weird, eh? Like these 30 when you're 30s, eh? Like just if you're on the piss, it takes so long, eh, to
oh,
recover.
and the
Like it's
hangover
just
is so much
ridiculous.
worse.
And you used to just realize like you must have been like Super Saiyan, eh, back in the day. You're like, how did that
It's
even
like,
work?
yeah. Well, like your first O week, you're going 5, 7 days in a row, no dramas. Wake up the next
Yeah,
day, away you go. I'm like, I couldn't
yeah,
think of anything worse.
yeah. I don't know what my screen's up to,
That's an
but
improvement,
that's all
man.
right. Yeah, I just yeah, yeah. Oh, bloody good. So, did you have any influences growing up, man? Like, or like, obviously rugby was important for you, but when you're back in the Bay, were there people that you looked up to or inspired you?
I mean, certainly from a rugby point of view, my dad and my granddad both played rugby for Hawkes Bay. They were
Oh
both
yeah,
halfbacks as well, actually. So it was sort of always in the blood, I guess, to certainly the Magpies and certainly rugby. So certainly like, I grew up on VHS tapes watching my old man play against the British and Irish Lions in '93, and they beat them that day. So like I would have watched that video like 50 times. So like,
what position? Would you? Yeah, that's awesome. Did he teach you the old elephant pass, the elephant trunk? Was
well,
it?
he was good for a good couple of worm burners for most games. So
Oh, beauty.
he wasn't the bloke that I needed to take any skill advice on. My old man was like, he was obviously my height. My height sort of runs in the family, unfortunately, but he was very stocky. So I think he wasn't much of a passing halfback. He was more of a combative up
Oh,
front sort of a bloke. Didn't really pass those genes down to me too, other than the height. So, but he was pretty handy. He played, I think he played like 49 games for the Bay, so he's all right.
oh, nice.
So certainly from a sporting point of view, those guys, but certainly like more they're like the academic side, or I guess the reason why I went down to Dunedin. Certainly, my old lady was the one that's always pushed me for academic stuff. Like I've always
Yeah,
been probably like, it hasn't been until maybe even after uni that she sort of let me know that like I've always known I've always been probably naturally bright, where I can like get by with a lot of school stuff and that, but probably didn't
yeah.
apply myself as much as and to reach my potential academically as my old lady likes to remind me. But I had a lot of fun along the way, and then funnily enough, I was when I was at high school, so I'm young for my year. So when I was leaving in my seventh form, I was actually going to go down to Victoria Uni in Wellington. I'd got I don't know if I had a scholarship or something, but I wasn't real convinced that that's where I wanted to go, and that's what I wanted to do. Like I was kind of doing
Yeah.
it because that's what I felt like I should do, and it wasn't
Yeah,
until
yeah,
one
100%. Yeah, yeah.
one
I
of one of
see.
my teachers was actually a great roast, and even my headmaster in the end was like, he's like, you're young for your year. Why don't you just come back for a second year at seventh form for and figure it and take that year to figure it out, do some different
Oh,
subjects,
really?
do what you like, and use that year to
So
figure
you
out what else you want
so
to do.
you'd already got uni entrance and stuff,
Yep. I'd passed
and
yeah
then
well and
you
truly.
and then you and then you could go back for another year. Could you actually do that?
Yeah. Well, I had to get
because of your age?
because of my age, because I was 17. So
Yeah,
leading into that next year, I was still eligible for under 18 teams and for schools teams and
yeah,
stuff. So like, I could keep playing for the first 15 and figure out sort of what I wanted to do. And I'm like, that is a huge, huge moment for me. Otherwise, I would have gone down
yeah,
to Wellington.
yeah.
Who knows how my rugby would have gone, because at that stage, or even like I was a good rugby player, but I wasn't like on radars for New Zealand schools or
Oh,
anything like
yeah.
that. So
Okay. Yeah.
um, heading back to school to figure it out, and have another year of rugby under my belt with guys that were actually my in my year group, was like a real big sliding doors moment of my career, because one, my rugby started to get a lot better. I was um, like, again, I didn't make New Zealand schools or anything like that, but certainly I was starting to feel a lot more confident in my game, and then use that
Did you?
year really well to figure out, okay, yeah, that actually Dunedin looks like the place to go.
Yeah.
That looks
Well,
right up.
that's sorry, bro. That
No,
looks that's crazy, bro. Because yeah, that's crazy to think about. I guess that year though, when you're doing it, like it would have given you a lot of confidence because I and many and that guy that Rooster you're talking about, like taking the time just to sit back and kind of just think about things and giving you that extra year really got you to I guess what you were saying is hone in on your skill set in terms of rugby and blah blah blah. But in terms of understanding where you wanted to go academically, also, because
mm,
I feel I don't know about you, man, but I went to like my school that I was at. It was semi-private, and there was always a push for university. Like there was always a push to go. You know, they'll at the assemblies and stuff. There was always like, oh, we got 90, like a 95% pass rate of NCA and all that sort of stuff. Like it was a ridiculous amount, and there was always a push from everyone to kind of head that direction. And when you're in seventh form and you get to those, you don't know what you're doing the
jeez,
next
I
day,
wish I
bro.
emailed you.
Like and when you get to that position of, hey, I've got to apply for these things. If I don't, then I don't know what I'm going to do. And you've only got a certain amount of time to do that. And then by the end of that year, you okay, I guess I'm going down to university. So giving you that extra year, bro, would have been really ideal, eh?
Big time, yeah, mate. Is Yeah, like I still probably hadn't fully figured out exactly what I wanted to do at uni, but like certainly it was definitely going to be. I knew I wanted to go to uni. Like I was sort of saying, I was lucky to be like naturally quite bright, so it was always that. It was just figuring out exactly what I wanted to do with that took me. And to be honest, even when I got to uni, like I started doing commerce, and I switched a couple of times actually to
Yeah.
sort of finally figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And
And that was common. That's common, bro.
yeah,
Hey,
hard
that's
out,
yeah,
hard out. So I think that's the one good thing about that year, or certainly the conversation they had with that teacher back then, was that like I didn't need to make the call on my career right then and there and stick with it. Like you can kind of have a crack
yeah,
and just like zigzag a little bit, like figure it out along
100.
the way. Like you don't need to be locked and loaded right from the get go. Not everyone takes the same path, and so uh,
Yeah,
I think I took that into my uni life, where I was like, okay, like this is what I'm starting with.
yeah,
We'll see how we
yeah.
go.
Oh,
But
cool.
ultimately, if I'm not real passionate about it, then
Yeah,
I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not gonna. If I'm not passionate about it, I'm not really going to apply myself. Um,
yeah.
so I
Oh,
took a little bit of
awesome.
time to figure out what I actually would be passionate about, and by the time I was about to get my degree was when rugby started taking off. Funny enough, so but yeah, she was a bit of a
Yeah,
journey.
yeah. Cool. So 2011 was that were your first year?
2010, 2010 was my first year.
2010. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. 1 year after
Yeah,
me. What am I talking about? Yeah. So cool, man. And you're Unicole, eh? You're Unicole,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Unicole.
Unicole.
What? Where were you in Unicole?
I was in North Six,
North
North Tower,
Six.
sixth floor. We had a great
Yeah.
floor. We were think we were one of the floors that other sort of floors complained about because we just were a little bit, I don't like ancestral is not the right word, but like we hung out together like all the time, you know. Like
Ancestral.
we would go to dinner together, lunch, dinner, and we'd hang out a lot. Like so, a lot. Even some of those guys. And,
So was Gareth on your floor?
No, Gareth wasn't on my
Oh.
floor. No, he was on North 2 or North 3 or something. So he wasn't far away.
Who is your what do they call it? Who was the person that controlled your RA? That's it. Yeah.
Jesus, that's gonna test my memory. This like lovely girl. She was like, she was like lovely, but she was quite. She wasn't someone that was going to like come down hard on you for like making too much noise. You know, come out and really ask you nicely, like and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
We didn't. To be fair, we didn't ride her too hard, but like she was lovely and really good to us, but not someone that was creating a lot of discipline in amongst our group, which is probably quite good actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what were your first impressions when you got down there? Obviously, you've come from, your home environment, I don't know about you, but you have everything done for you, you're washing, everything's done for you. You get down to university and you're by yourself and it's up to you to make it work. So what was your first impressions, bro?
Yeah, like thrown almost much like you, mate. Thrown in the deep end a little bit. I'm the oldest in my family as well, so I hadn't.
You got a younger brother, right?
Yeah, younger brother and a younger sister. So I had no one to look up to sort of maybe give me a few tips here and there. Had a couple of mates that were from Napier Boys that were down there that sort of helped me out a little bit. But yeah, certainly first impressions. Geez, I was like, yeah, I'm in heaven. This place is unreal. Especially Unico, like, what is it, 500 in that group. And obviously Gareth was my best mate. He was there, that helped. A few other Napier Boys guys. So like it made the transition pretty easy, having some familiarity around. And I guess you learn how to do your own washing and stuff. It wasn't too big of a deal, but it was probably, Gareth and I had signed up while we were in the Otago Rugby Academy. So we were doing like 5 a.m. Bike rides down to academy training. We went and bought this BMX bike from the warehouse that had like pegs on it, pegs on the back. So we could love each other down and back every morning. And I remember like this is O week, so we were having we're already having training and stuff. And I can't remember what the event was, but there was some big event on during the day. So we had our you remember the Bigfoots? Bigfoots are
right,
drinks?
They were deadly.
They're like 1.5 liter of like just absolute horse.
Pure, pure methylated spirits.
Yeah, exactly. So we had bought a couple of those together, biked down through our Bigfoots in like a bush near the academy, did our workouts and our fitness session, and then left and like walked back with our bike with our Bigfoots in hands, just smacking them back because all of our mates would have already started.
Gone, yeah. That's such a good story.
Up to all sorts of mischief right from the get go, but geez, it was so much fun.
Yeah, so Castles, Guardies was still there, eh?
Guardies was there for my first semester that we were there. So we didn't venture down there too often because you know what freshers get, how freshers get treated if you're trying to sneak down Castle Street. But lucky enough, I had a couple of mates that were a year above me at uni, but had been to school with. They were on Leith Street, so we would kind of like shoot across to Leith with them, have a couple of beers, and then boost over to Guardy. So we were lucky enough to experience it for a few months. And geez, what a place! It was heartbreaking when it left.
Yeah. And did you have the toga parade?
Did we have the toga parade?
Because the year... Do you
no, we didn't. No, we didn't because the year before was then when they had the shit thrown on them. Yeah, that's
bro.
right.
That was
We had a
that was
toga.
our year, bro.
We had a toga
Yeah,
party.
and
We had a toga party, but
that's
not
right.
the
You
not
didn't
the.
go down the main street, eh?
Nah, nah, we
No.
didn't. Yeah, I remember that because that was the year as well that they had the big riots as well. After was it the Under 500? I think they had a big
Yeah,
riot
because
that year as well.
yeah. Did you? So the Under
That was
500
the year
didn't
before, sorry.
come back.
Nah,
Yeah. So
got binned after that.
and did
So
you and the cookathon? Did you was the cookathon?
Cookathon was gone too. Yeah, no,
Oh
Cookathon. Oh, actually, yeah, no, Cookathon
nah.
was gone too. They've been that. Obviously, had the cook was our bar. It was that
Yeah.
was the bar that we experienced the most and absolutely loved. Like, yeah, Castle Street.
$3 chicken burgers.
Oh fuck,
$2
man, so
steaks.
many of them. Oh no, Jesus, it was like yeah, heaven. Like that's the thing I
Yeah.
always say quite often now. Like, or certainly when I was at the Chiefs with like the young boys, I was like, mate, you guys have got no idea how good you've got it. Like,
Yeah.
you've got no idea how far I could make $20 go in a week. Like, yeah, the value that
Yeah.
we could scrounge
Yeah.
through
Did
for
you
food and beers. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
unreal.
Did you ever experiment with your drinks? Not in like in terms of like did you ever add one to another, or did you ever put nothing like that, like to
Uh,
make you?
the what me and Gareth did one year. So when we were on Castle Street together in our second year, and at the
Yeah.
time we were trialing for New Zealand under 20s. So pretty big for us.
Yeah.
We were focused. We were trying to, all right, we're not going to drink too much leading up to trials. We're going to be really smart.
Yeah.
But Gareth, his family were on like a small little orchard, and his old man used to make this like fire water out of must have been like fermented. I feel like it was fermented oranges or maybe potatoes. So it might have been just straight vodka, but
Potatoes.
it
What
was
did
strong.
you say?
Like yeah,
Did you
yeah,
say
yeah, yeah.
potatoes?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was something like that,
Yeah.
and it was like this clear liquid. And Gareth would bring down like a big carafe
Oh
like
yeah.
every year, and we had no idea what percentage it was. I don't even think his old man knew, but it was strong, like seriously strong. And so
Yeah.
we would sit in our flat with the boys in the flat. They're all drinking on the beers, and we're sort of staying off it. We're just having waters and having cokes and stuff, and then the boys go to the whatever the flat party was that night, and G Balls and I would get fill up like a glass, like a full glass of this fire water, and we'd just be like, right, this is the healthy way for us to get drunk quick, not have to have like 12 beers, and so we just
Yeah, but then you could just put it into a bottle and no one will know. Oh, did you scull the whole
no,
thing?
we would get it. We'd do a cup. We'd do like a full mug of, and again, we didn't know how much, but we'd chin smack the whole thing and go to the flat party and be on the same level as
And,
everyone else. So
oh, that's how was the what? Were you dusty in the morning, or you're pretty good?
no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't too bad. No,
Yeah,
often we were pretty committed to trying to make the 20s that year, so we were
yeah.
training hard and yeah, like even the next day, I
And
think we did.
you made them, mate. You made the 20s, did you?
I made the 20s. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was probably the first time in my career where I was like, okay, geez, maybe I could
and that
go right at rugby. So
yeah, and that was a stacked team, mate. You had like I remember seeing that team. It was
yeah,
stacked.
still to this day
Like the
the most stacked under 20s team. Like the most internationals have come out of it. I think there's like 13 or 14 All Blacks plus
yeah,
Harry Franskin played for Wales,
Wales,
Brad
yeah.
Stevens played for England, like yeah, and Bintami Furner plays for Tonga. Like there's multiple. Yeah, it was ridiculous. But
Crazy.
even the England team that we played in the final, they were stacked as well. They had like George
Yeah, and
Ford,
Farrell.
Dan Watson, Owen Farrell,
Yeah.
just like incredible team as well. Christian Wade, like Elliot Daly, I think was in that side. One of the Vunipolas.
Oh,
Like
that's one of the
you look at it now, like you had no idea at the time. You're like, oh yeah,
yeah.
right. But you look at those team sheets now, and it's like, man, that was stacked.
What was the score in the final?
It was like 33-22. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty close in the end. Which yeah, it's funny. Yeah, like we beat them then, but then I guess most of them got their revenge on us at the 2019 World Cup, because that's when like most of us had all come of age. You know, we were all like 28, sort of
Yeah,
in that time.
true.
Those bastards got their revenge on us in 2019.
Those bastards. So sweet, man. Awesome. Let's go back to the bookwork, mate. So academic journey. So you said that you started on, what was it, commerce, and then you went to, what did you end up with?
So I started in commerce, and really, really wasn't for me. I was always good at numbers, but it was just really certainly wasn't for me. I can't remember what I was majoring in. I think it was finance and something else. And I just
Oh,
realized pretty quick that, well, because I was good at maths, you see. So I was like,
oh,
okay.
really?
But I knew I sort of wanted to go down like a sciencey track. Like I think that was probably where I knew I was maybe a little bit more passionate about it. And so I did health science in second year, and did really
Oh,
well in the first semester. And then second
Dr.
semester,
Weber.
yeah, well, who knows? Who knows what could have been? But the second semester, well, I made 20s, and then had a stint in the NPC with Hawkes Bay. So I actually couldn't finish the second semester. So I basically pivoted after that. I passed I passed all the ones in the first semester, and just pivoted to applied science. And so I was doing like technology, and they just brought out this new course it was just sport technology. And that I was like, wow, that's like right up my alley. When I love like the science behind a lot of stuff, and I love sport as well. So why not marry the two up? I'd already got a lot of like the base science ones that I needed anyway. I had like the physics, chem, bio, health sci.
Oh, so you got a bit of brains about you there, Webby.
Look, I don't know if I would have. I don't think I would have got into into medicine or anything like that. But you know, maybe if I might have. I probably would have liked to have done like physio or something like that potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll never know. But look, I was happy to move into that, and so yeah, started to basically to get a bit more specialised in that sort of thing. And then I was just going into my fourth year, which was going to be my specialist year, the 300 level year, to finish off my degree. And Waikato rang me halfway through my third year, my second semester in my third year, asked me if I wanted to have a crack at the NPC team then. So I said, yeah, I'll give it a go. Had a crack, finished my exams for the year and passed them all. But 2 weeks into my stint with Waikato up in Hamilton, Dave Rennie was around at my house the next day after a game against Auckland, offering me a Chiefs contract. So like, yeah, it's again, I guess another sliding doors moment for me. Is like at that stage,
Yeah.
I'd been dropped from Otago that year. So
Yeah. So
the year prior, I'd made the Otago squad. So I was doing that alongside my
okay.
studies.
Yeah.
Done my studies, got dropped from the Otago team. So I was like, okay, that's like it's fine. Luckily, like I've sort of found the academia that I'm passionate about and that I'm
Yeah.
keen to dive into. So I'll just be a student this semester and next year, get my degree, and then off we go. You know, who knows where we'll go?
Yeah.
And yeah, funny how things work out. Waikato
Yeah.
gave me a shot halfway through the NPC that year, and got a Chiefs contract, and then was there for 10 years. So yeah,
Crazy.
and the niggly thing for me academically was I wanted to carry on my degree. Really wanted it out of like from Otago, and Waikato Uni were really good. They saw what I was doing and offered to like take me into a couple of classes that I could then cross credit down to Otago.
Ah,
But
perfect.
Otago declined a couple of the papers. Said that they weren't the same or weren't going to quite work out. So, you know, I could have never, I wouldn't have been able to get my Otago uni degree. So I never actually ended up getting it, which is a real shame.
Oh, so you're two papers off.
No, I never ended up doing the others because I knew that the ones that I needed weren't going to get me my degree down there, so I didn't bother. I think I had 6 left, so 4 were okay. Two weren't.
Oh,
Um,
so all
so yeah,
right.
and I wanted my first year with the Chiefs, I'd already decided. I said I'm not going to do any study. I'm just going to focus on because I was on a draft contract. I was the third halfback at the Chiefs. I was like, this is my opportunity. I'd nearly blown one with Otago already by being dropped. I was like, I'm not going to let this opportunity pass me by. So I'm going to put everything into it just for this season, see how we go. And mate, real good decision. Because
unreal.
Because
just go back a step, man. I just want to just talk to you a little bit around, obviously, rugby, and then you had your studies, and then you had the social aspect, right? And you're just talking about how you had to go to NZ20s and you went up to Hawkes Bay. So that all plays a part, right? Because obviously uni doesn't stop, man. So how did that play a part, man, in terms of, did you have to do summer school? How did you get around the trainings to your studies to the social aspect? Was that a massive impact for you?
Yeah, huge. So my first year I just did full time, but then second year, which was when I really sort of figured out how I was going to have to try and do things. So I would do full time in first semester, and then would usually move to part time, like maybe 1 or 2 papers in the second semester. And that was part of the reason why I couldn't finish the health sci first year. And then the following year, I thought I was going to be in Otago the whole season, so I did full time. Because I got dropped from the Otago. I got dropped from the Otago team, so I was like, okay, my second semester, instead of going part time, like I thought I was going to have to do, I was like, I might as well do it full time and then do the same next year, get my degree, and get out of there. That's it was tough, mate. To be honest, look, some of the days, man, were long. Like trying to rugby in New Zealand's interesting. Like trying to get to Super Rugby is, well, certainly back then was super hard. And even now, it's hard to break in, but once you're in, it's hard to get out. You kind of need to be really not impress the coaching group or play really poorly to get knocked out. It's actually quite, once you're in, it's about breaking through to that point. So we were 5:30 a.m. morning sessions with academy or NPC during, and then you're doing full days of classes and then training in the afternoon, and you're doing that 4 times a week. So you don't have a lot of time for social. Certainly not as many midweekers as my first year. Doing plenty in first year, and playing Colts and stuff, and they would make sure trainings were on Wednesday nights so that our Thursday nights student nights were free. But certainly, once the year after, when I made 20s, I wanted to make it, have a decent crack. It sort of took up a lot of the time. So a lot of the socializing was just on Saturdays after games and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's not easy if you're not a schoolboy superstar that's been tapped on the shoulder saying that this is going to be you. If you want to grind for it and you really want it, mate, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. Early mornings, late nights, and amongst study, and some guys work as well. So that's a big commitment too, man. It's not.
100%. So did you have anyone that helped you with that stuff? Did you anyone that you looked up to, or anyone that helped you through those tough days, getting up at 4:30 in the morning and having to go to trainings or having to study? Just to help you through those. Was there anyone?
Certainly helped having Gareth there along for the ride with me. We've kind of gone toe to toe. We'd obviously train a lot together. We're at the same rugby club, and we had the same goals. So yeah, it's funny. I made 20s. Gareth unfortunately didn't. It was a loose forward trio, and his year was just incredible. It was Sam Kane, Luke Whitelock, Brad Shields.
Luatua? Was he there?
Stephen Luatua, it's just
crazy.
It was tough. And then, but then, he made Otago team before I did. Then he made Super Rugby as well. So we weren't competing with each other. We were trying to drag each
help
other
each other.
along and help each other out. So that certainly helped. And then just the greatest thing about Otago was my uni mates that weren't rugby players or
Yeah,
that played
cool.
social. They're the ones. They're the goats. Like they're the ones who would be more trying to push you to keep going, not sleep in after your academy training and go to class, and they're showing you the way because that's their path. So and they're the ones I reckon that keep you real grounded and give you a real normal life. Like I often say, like with a couple of guys, certainly in the Chiefs, like I hang out with guys like Damien McKenzie and Anton Leonard-Brown, Sean Stevenson a lot, and those guys were probably the first breed of rugby player that were earmarked straight out of high school. Like these, you're going to be straight into a Super Rugby squad. Like Anton Leonard-Brown played Super Rugby before he played
Before,
senior club rugby. He hadn't even played Prem Rugby, which is incredible.
holy,
It's incredible. So, whereas I was one of the last generations that I went Colts Rugby, Prems, then NPC, then
like,
Super Rugby, then All Blacks. Like the
or
genuine
2 years and
path.
2 years seventh form, brother.
Yeah, and 10 year, 2 years uniform. Exactly right. So, like, I bet I'm just the ultimate battler.
A little bit better. I love it.
But
I love it, man.
but those guys never got to experience what I got to experience at uni, which is like all the things we were talking about earlier around like learning life skills
Yeah,
and
100%.
balancing study alongside early mornings and late night training and trying to fit all this in alongside a social life and those guys that I just talked about, like they're some of my best mates through rugby, but I've made so many mates all around the country, even all around the world through my time in Dunedin at uni.
Yeah,
All
that's
the
awesome,
different
bro.
people that I met through different walks of life that weren't rugby players, and I love that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. We're talking about influential people or influential things. We can't really go past Shark Park.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how much of an influence they had, like especially from the start. Like, how do they get you there? Just what they do to you, and why are they such a successful club?
There's a lot of reasons. I mean, there's so many of the older guys there that are running the club, the management side, that do so much for students there. They make like a lot of it out of their own pocket to make sure we get out to Shark Park. There was multiple vans which were just stuffed like Russian dolls, and they're like just
and
like sardines, just to get you out to Shark Park. They would often put feeds on for us, like after a tough training day, a tough training night, because geez, some nights out at Shark Park, the sand and the wind and the rain's coming in horizontal. So like you had some pretty cold and miserable nights, but the fire would be on. They'd cook you a feed, and after games they're shouting jugs upon jugs. These are just
it was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it was, and like there was one year we had 5 Colts teams. It was just like it was incredible, and it was because of the work that these older guys did, like Chucky and Grunter, who are like people from Shark Park will know exactly who I'm talking about. It's like 2 of the goats alongside like so many. Like I don't want to like just keep naming names, but like guys like Piranha and even Dwyer
Stephen Walker.
Stuff. Yeah, and so like but they made it, mate. They're the ones and then like word of mouth starts getting out because of the way how good my experience was. Like it certainly ignited or poured petrol on the fire of my love for rugby. Like that's when I think about rugby at its grassroots, like the Sharks is it, and it's the reason why like I still throw a fin up from when I played for the Sharks to when I played for the All Blacks. When I score a try, I throw a fin up for them.
It's crazy how much that's crazy.
Yeah, because of the influence that they had on my love for rugby and what it means to be a successful rugby club. So like when you hear stories about like club rugby dying in NZ. I know some are, but like you go out to Shark Park and it is just still thriving out there, eh? So yeah,
it's definitely that's the people. The people make it, eh?
hard.
And it was crazy just to see like how many we had crazy amount of teams, bro.
Yeah,
Like
ridiculous.
5 Colts teams is just stupid. And then
Yeah,
in the final it would be Sharks versus Sharks,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and
Exactly
we
right.
just
My first year at Colts was we played we were the Muckle Sharks, so we were meant to be the top team, and we
bro, I
played
was gonna say,
we played the Bulls in the semi final on
and it was
it.
pissing down.
Oh,
It
it
was
was the worst day I've ever had at Shark Park, and I've had a few shockers, and it was
yeah.
they're like it was so cold, and it had been raining so hard, and because like the drainage isn't like, the drainage is all right out there because of the sand, but it was so cold that the puddles had frozen over. So it was
Oh,
literally like so. You, I remember passing a ball or we're playing against me. BB Chris BB is a bit of a larrikin, the mayor of Castle
absolute
Street,
dope.
he was calling himself, but
Yeah.
he got tackled into one of these puddles that were in ice, and as he was going down, he's just all you hear him yell out is just like no straight into the ice puddle, and it was.
Oh,
I come off after about so we're the top team, and we end up losing to the Bull Sharks, who were the second team at Shark Park. I come off after about maybe 65 minutes. We were up at this time maybe by 4 points. I didn't even bother staying on the side. I ran straight into the showers and just turned that shit on, and I stayed there for 15 minutes until both teams came back in. And I was like, right, what happened? And they're like, oh, we lost. Oh,
oh,
oh no. So yeah, mate.
well, fellas,
Character
but
building. Very, very
the Bulls
character
won the
building.
final,
And they won the
and the
final.
Bulls
Yeah, they still
won
have
the
reunions and stuff like that. So
yeah, how
I'm
good,
glad to have been part of a fairy tale story like that. And
yeah,
those boys still remind me too when I see them, buggers.
yeah, and old Steve is one of my good mates, bro. He just reminded me to ask you about the final when they benched you for him. I mean, was it the year after?
No, that was during that year. So
Was it? Oh,
yeah, Kev Waldron, said that Lukey Stevenson was the best nine in the club, and so he would say he started over me over the last maybe last half the season, because I think I'd come down with like maybe a little bit of a half sort of little reputation, I guess, that I was half decent. So I was
yeah,
starting on rep, and then Lukey Stevenson was a bit of the gun that Kevy Waldron saw the potential and thought he was the best nine in the club. So he started over me the last half of the season, but that semi final. I think he had like rolled his ankle or something. So
yeah,
I
he,
started, and then he come on late just to
yeah,
hobble
yeah.
through.
He reckons he rolled his ankle, yeah, on the piss on the Thursday night or something. He
Yeah,
was
and then
telling me the other day.
that's right.
Make sure you tell him about the time that I started over him.
Well,
I'm like, yeah,
he
right.
did.
You're
It's true.
rightio, mate.
He was the son.
He
He's the
was
son of.
actually
He was
he was actually a hell of a player.
the son of Kev Waldron. It helps, but but no,
Yeah,
he. Well, it's funny how it all comes in roundabouts, because then he ended up being the head trainer at the Hawke's Bay
yeah,
Magpies when I was there. So yeah, it's funny
yeah,
that we went from teammates to him sorting out all our programs and stuff, and did a hell of a
yeah,
good job too with Hawke's Bay. He's a fantastic head trainer.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
man.
he's a weapon. Nah, cool, man. Nah, awesome, cool, bro. That's awesome, man. Oh, how good. What have we got up next? Give me a wee yarn on Castle Street, bro. I actually never lived on Castle Street. I lived
Oh,
behind it. But whereabouts, what house were you in?
we were in the the 598 complex, which was
Oh, the 8 man or whatever.
in
Is
between
it?
it was behind the fridge and the fridgette, and beside the Beaver Lodge. Beaver Lodge, I think. It was the one
Oh,
where the 660 played in that the the
oh, right. When
balcony.
the balcony collapsed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
We were in that one. Six of us lads had a hell of a time. Jesus, I remember probably two things that stick out for me the most. One was the lock-in at the gay box where things just got real out of hand real quickly. So I can't remember how many people, but all of a sudden I come out of my room where I was in, and an entire wall had just been like demolished. Like it wasn't just holes, holes and potholes. It was the entire wall had just been ripped apart.
The funny thing about that is, one small hole and then boom, it's over, mate.
Exactly. I think they knew. They were good lads. They knew that it was coming. But so that was pretty eye-opening. So it didn't sober me up. It just made me laugh. But the big one for me was the 2011, actually the World Cup final, 2011.
Oh yeah.
Spent it on Castle Street, and the driveway where the next to the 8-man got cleared out. There was probably 25 just BYO couch would just bring couches along. There would have been probably 150 200 people, and they put a projector on the white flat next door, so and played the World Cup final for everyone. And as you can imagine, once we won, things got a little bit out of hand. And what do Scarfies do when there's a few rogue couches just hanging around? Well, they will get lit on fire, don't they? So they literally piled all these couches together, lit them on fire, and I was genuinely scared that it was going to. The inferno was so big, it was singeing how there's shoes hanging from the power line. It made those go up in flame. It was that high. Must have been 14, 15 of these couches. I was genuinely thinking it was going to get into either the 8-man or the flat next door and burn it down. But luckily, by good grace, the fire brigade probably knew that something was going to happen at some point on Castle Street. So they were literally waiting just around the corner, got there just in time, and put it all out. But it's funny, everyone at the start was loving it, right around real close to the fire, and then starts getting out of hand, and everyone's like, ooh, and then I've still got this one picture of it, and there's no one within 20 meters of it. It was that hot. And
did you get that on your flip phone or?
Yeah. It's taken on a potato. Certainly no high definition, but you can make
the old 2280.
Yeah, the bricks. I think the iPhone 3 had just come out, so I think maybe a couple of lads, a couple of the richer Auckland boys probably had the old iPhone 3.
Yeah, nice. It's awesome, bro. I was going to say, good times. Awesome. So you made the transition, obviously, from uni, and so you went up to Waikato, and you got a wee gig up there, and your plan was to finish the degree, but you had to transition.
Basically, the Otago didn't allow a couple of the papers to have been cross-credited. So I was never going to be unless. So if I wanted to get my degree at Otago Uni, I would have had to have gone down to uni for a couple of maybe a semester, knock out those last two to get it. And look, after a couple of years, it sort of got into probably the too hard basket, and rugby was really starting to take off by that stage too. So look, I do have a little bit of regrets. I wish I would have got my degree, but I don't feel like I would have ever been able to get it. The other option would have been to pick up halfway through a degree at Waikato Uni and maybe do one there, but it was nothing really that was making me as passionate as what I was doing in Dunners. So didn't bother, and started looking at making sure that through my earnings with rugby that once I have to make the transition from, I transitioned, I certainly took a lot of life skills and a lot of good things out of my uni days, but no piece of paper. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to be without anything to, certainly trying to set myself up for post rugby now. I'm 33 now. I've got a couple more years left at Stade Francais, and try to certainly make sure that the money that I was making in that time, that it's doing good stuff for me, so that when I do finish playing, I'm not in a real rush to try and get a good paying job. I can sort of take my time and really find something that I love, or I'll maybe transition into some sort of rugby job. But yeah,
cool, man. So something that's really you were captain straight away at Waikato, was that right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, because how did your experience at university help you? Obviously, they saw something in you to be captain. So, how do those qualities from university help you become a good leader?
I've kind of lost you there, Huey. I think I lost that last part, but were you asking like what the things from uni like helped with like leadership and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. How did you become a good leader? From sorry, yeah, we lost it a little bit. I don't know what's going on dial-up. Yeah,
Yeah, I reckon I've probably realized now that like I'm a little bit of a reluctant leader, but I think I've come to realize that often, like people have obviously seen things in me. Like my Waikato coach, I'd only played 6 or 7 games for them, and then I was 23 leading into the next season, and he wanted me to captain the side. So yeah, and at the start, I was like, I didn't feel, I was pretty reluctant to do it because I wasn't a Waikato boy. I'd only played half a season, but he saw something in me. I do think a lot of that was probably down to like I skipped first 15 at my last year at uni at Napier Boys, so I had a little bit, and then I guess. Because we were at a university, or not a university club, but like certainly one that's got a lot of students in Dunedin. It was certainly a younger, I suppose across the board, it was a bit of a younger Premier rugby team compared to perhaps other clubs around the country. So naturally, I probably led a little bit more than I would have at other clubs, and had been lucky enough to have been skippered by like Sam Anderson Heather and Will Henry, who Mark Grieve Dunn, like these guys who were just a little bit older than me, but really experienced at that level, and sort of showed me sort of what leadership was, and then really encourage. I remember they really encouraged certainly me and Gareth to take on more of a leadership role, certainly around game plan and stuff like that, and as a 9, like driving the team around. And they gave me lots of confidence to do that. So I think by the time I'd gotten up to Waikato, like I was confident to, I guess, tell my forward pack what to do to start. Had really good communication skills with a real broad range of people. So I think that's probably what my head coach saw in me at the time, and I think a lot of that it was down to my uni days because of just the broad range of people from so many different areas of the country coming together. And I was encouraged to lead from a young time, and even like and then I suppose even with the Chiefs as well, like same again, I was asked to skip the Chiefs, and again, I probably didn't. I didn't want to do it. It's not that I didn't want to do it, but like Sammy Kane was still there, so
yeah,
it was in a co skipper role, which he had already done with Aaron Cruden. So he was probably, I was sort of certainly thinking he'd just like get into that role and run it himself. But I was asked to do it alongside him, and again, I was probably a little bit reluctant because I just wanted to follow Sam. Like he's one of the best leaders I've been lucky enough to play under.
Yeah, crazy.
But again, the coaches probably see things in me that perhaps I don't see. And funny enough, like some thing I guess I've realized is that sometimes the reluctant leaders sometimes make the best ones at times. So now I've kind of just learnt to just embrace it, really. And
Cool.
lucky enough to learn off some of the best, like Sam Kane and Liam Messam, Aaron Cruden. Like,
Yeah.
been very, very blessed with the leaders that I've been able to play under.
Yeah, one thing I've really kind of noticed, not just through here, but you're just through like you when I'm watching on TV or in your post match, you're always just yourself. Like you've always been yourself, and you're always confident to be yourself. You're not trying to be someone else. You know, you got this attitude. Well, not this attitude, but you've got this personnel where you know just be me, and that's okay. And I feel like everything that you do, every interval that you do, you know, even coming on here, man, like I didn't expect you to be on here, and it's just like you just take it, and then it's just let's have a yarn, and you're just so just being you, you know, like it's just awesome. And I think a lot of people can see that.
Yeah, cheers, you. Yeah, that's certainly something I really wanted to like. Yeah, I guess I really just wanted to be certainly around post match interviews and stuff. Like I don't know, there's just I guess a theme through that time where so many cliches, so many boring answers. Like
Yeah,
I was just sick of it watching it. So I was like, right, well, I'm a 23-year-old skipper of Waikato.
yeah.
Like, you're gonna ask me questions, I'm gonna tell you exactly
I'll tell you
what
about
I
a
think. Not
300.
beat around the
Yeah,
bush or say what I think people want to hear. Like, I'm just gonna
absolutely.
tell it exactly what it is, how I'm
Yeah,
feeling, what I think the game, and like, yeah, to be honest, people really resonated with it well, and even the guys from Sky and stuff like I've built up relationships with a lot of them, and a lot of them have loved it from me. And
because
so,
you've been on shows a bit, a couple of times,
yeah,
and yeah,
and
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
because of that. Just because I'm willing,
yeah,
just willing to be myself. I don't. It's taken a bit of practice. Like I've often, worried what people thought of me, and I
yeah.
guess
Oh,
like
mate,
takes a little bit
I'm
takes a little bit of like for you now, doing this podcast. Like it
100.
takes actually a little bit of courage to do that and to put yourself out there and be yourself. And like now that I've done that a few times, like it can still be uncomfortable, but I'm much more comfortable being uncomfortable. If
Yeah,
that makes
that's
sense. And like
yeah,
the only way
100, bro.
only way you can do that is by putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. And
Bro,
so,
that's one of the reasons
kind of,
why I'm doing this, man. Like,
yeah,
this is pretty uncomfortable for me,
yeah,
but A, I want to get myself outside of it. B, spin a couple of good yarns, but also C, get to know some people a bit more and hopefully learn a lot from others. You know what I mean? And I've definitely learned a lot from you, bro. Go to back to those Waikato days, brother.
yeah.
You won the Renfrew Shield that year, eh?
2015. Yeah, we did
Yeah,
against against Hawke's
against
Bay.
Hawke's.
Obviously,
And then you
yeah.
won it back, and then you won it back the year after with Hawke's Bay, eh?
Oh, it was a few years.
Oh,
A
few
few
years later.
years later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd actually. It was our last game for Waikato. We weren't going to make the playoffs. Hawke's Bay were a gun team. Obviously, it's the team I grew up idolizing. Like I didn't have a Super Rugby team growing up. Like the Magpies was it for me.
Yeah.
And so I'd actually already signed with Hawke's Bay for the following season. So I'm going into this game playing for the Shield. We've
I'm like,
already knocked out of the playoffs. I've already signed with Hawke's Bay, and they had a
that's
gun team.
crazy.
Their team was gun, and you look at the side that we had like Damien McKenzie, Anton Leonard Brown, Sean Stevenson in it. But these guys were kids. They were like first or second year out of high school. They were like
Oh,
20,
guns, bro.
guns now, but like back then they were very like you think Damien's erratic now. You
D
wouldn't know what
Mac,
he was
D
like
Mac
back then.
was D Mac like smaller than you back then?
We were basically the same size. Yeah, so we were like
Yeah.
the smallest 9 and 10, but probably the most fun to watch. Like, geez, we
Yeah.
scored some unreal tries that season, but leaked a
Oh, mate,
lot of
I can
points.
remember.
Well, that was our issue. But yeah, I ended up. So funny enough, at Hawke's Bay before home games, they have a big sponsors lunch or dinner, depending on what time the game is for all the sponsors, and there's usually a couple hundred there. They do it for every home game. and they have a guest speaker. And funnily enough, my old man was the guest speaker before that Ranfurly Shield game. And they asked him, they said, obviously your son's captaining Waikato, they're trying to take the shield off us. What do you hope happens tonight? And he said, look, I hope Brad plays really well, but in my heart, I hope Hawkes Bay win. And I go out there and I score 3 tries and win the shield. And he was crying on the sideline afterwards. I went and seen him, and he was bawling his eyes out.
So, that's crazy.
So, yeah, it was good
and
stuff.
you had an unreal year that year, eh? I can remember you scored some unreal tries, eh? It was awesome.
Yeah, it was like so the year before was my first year with the Chiefs. I had like 7 or 8 games off the bench just when Tawara Kurbalo, Augustine Pulu were injured. And and then Tawara blew his ACL out playing for the All Blacks that season. So I knew the next season that I was going to have more of an opportunity at Super Rugby level, and played pretty well. Ended up making my All Black debut that year against Samoa, and then basically just rode the confidence down to Waikato. So obviously, had a full year of Super Rugby, played a test for the All Blacks, went back down to play for Waikato, and it was just like beaming with confidence, just
and mate, that's obviously probably the highlight of anyone's life of making your All Blacks debut in Api and Samoa, probably about 40 degrees.
It was,
yeah. I lived here for a year, mate. It's bloody hot. Yeah. How was that, man? Just the whole experience for that, bro, must have been crazy.
Yeah, it was unreal. Like when you go into All Blacks camp for the first time, they have like you're in like basically a big semicircle and chairs, and like the Steve Hanson's up there as the head coach, he's talking, and then the new guys get up and kind of just have a brief chat about like what their rugby story is and how they got there and stuff. And I was like, at this stage, I just got into my room in the hotel in Auckland, and I'm rooming with Dan Carter, and I'm like, what the hell has just happened? I'm like, first full season of Super Rugby, and now I'm rooming with Dan Carter, and he was a legend. So
he's an absolute lad, eh?
Absolute roast. And so anyway, I get up and I'm just like, I kind of can't believe I'm here, because like it was nearly to the day, I think 2 years prior to the day I made my All Blacks debut, I got dropped from the Otago squad. So I literally got up there and said, 2 years ago I got dropped from an NPC team.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the All Black squad. Like just an incredible like run. But like what I said to them at the time, I think was like, I was lucky enough to have been given a second chance, because my work ethic wasn't real good with Otago, and that was half the reason why Tony Brown didn't pick me. And it was the kick up the arse that I needed.
Yeah.
To say that like you actually need to put in more work than what trainers and coaches put aside for you if you're going to make it. And so that's sort of why I was saying earlier, like when I got that chance with Waikato and with the Chiefs, I was like, right, I've learned my lesson. Brownie's taught me that lesson about work ethic. I'm never going to let someone question my work ethic ever again. And so
awesome.
Yeah, funnily enough, it worked. 2 years later, I was an All Black.
That's crazy. Awesome, bro. And then was that 2015?
2015, yeah. 2015.
And then because you didn't get picked for the World Cup squad, eh?
Nah. Tawara had just come back from his injury, so he
took that all good. How did that affect you? Wasn't
no fine. No dramas. I was like just stoked to be there at the time, and I knew that I was a inexperienced 9, having not really played a lot of Test match rugby. I knew that I would be a pretty big risk taking me to the World Cup. With Tawara, who'd already played well for the All Blacks. So I took it well, and knew that I had a few years in the future where I could give it a decent crack and look forward to that. But it did take me 4 years to get back.
I was about to ask you.
I'm
4 years, eh?
I'm pretty sure I'm like, of any Test player, the longest time between first and second Test, I'm pretty sure it's me.
Are you?
Yeah, pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I swear someone
Is it?
on
Is it? Is
I
it?
swear someone on
Is
Twitter tagged me in that once.
is that in the Is that amongst anyone?
I'm pretty sure that I got tagged in
Oh,
it from the
what a
Stade on
stat!
Twitter. It's certainly between first and second test.
Hey, that's a
There's no doubt longer times between individual tests for someone, but between the first and the second, I'm pretty sure.
that's a Guinness record. That's a
Yeah,
Guinness World Record, mate. You
it's
need
the
to get
ESPN Sports Center stat of the day. There you
well Guinness World Record, mate. You need to get someone over there
go.
to give you your
Give me that.
plaque.
But yeah, took a bit of time to get the second one, but it was worth it, man.
Yeah, nice. You still got me, eh? You still hear me?
Right. Yep.
Oh, sweet. Hey, I'm just you took that long, 4 years, bro. But it comes back to what you were saying before around working harder. You never gave up on that.
Nah, I mean, I had a few bumps, I suppose, along the way. Like, so 2016, I shared the Chiefs starting role with Tawada a lot that year, and then he got picked for the All Blacks. And again, I didn't have a lot of complaints because he was Tawada Kubalo, who's experienced 9, alongside TJ Perenara and Aaron Smith. So I couldn't have too many complaints. And then the following year was the one that 2017 was one that hurt a lot. Tawada had just announced that he was going to go to La Rochelle in France, so he was leaving. So I knew that the third halfback spot was up for grabs with the All Blacks, and the British and Irish Lions were touring that season. And like I was sort of saying way earlier, my old man played against British and Irish Lions. I was looking forward to carrying that on, but fortunately, I broke my femur at the Brisbane Tens in pre-season, so I was ruled out for the whole season. So that was a little bit of a setback. Missed out on all that sort of cool things, but and
That's a big injury.
Yeah, big injury. Yeah, they initially thought I'd done my knee because you don't really see femur fractures in rugby, and it wasn't until I got the scan at the hospital that they said that, oh no, your ACL and everything's intact in your knee. And at this time, my thigh started to throb, so I was like, geez, you guys might want to just check my thigh real quick because it is.
Oh, really? So they didn't even check your thigh?
No,
they just checked that was your knee.
Did the MRI on the knee, and they literally come over the loudspeaker from whatever room they're in. They're like, "Oh, your knee's fine. It's all intact." And I'm like, "Check my thigh right now because it's so sore." And so they just moved me in a little bit, checked it, and then they come over the speaker and they're like, "Holy shit! You've got a fractured femur. Stay right there. We're going to get you into surgery right now." And literally wheeled me into surgery, and I got surgery straight away.
Mate, I thought that mass gainer from first year would have sorted your bones out, bro.
I think it did the opposite. It made them brittle.
So have you still got screws in there and plates and anything, or was it?
I've still got So they literally rip out your like they drill into the top of the femur at the hip, and then just hammer down a titanium rod that big right down the middle of the bone, and then put 2 screws and holding it in, one at the knee and one at the hip. So I've still got the majority of that in there. I've got the rod down the middle and then the screw at the at my knee, but the screw at the hip was just coming out a little bit too far, so it was hurting my
rubbing
whatever was rubbing over it, giving me a lot of pain. So I got that ripped out, and that cured me overnight. And I've basically had no dramas since. To be honest, I've been it probably took me 2 years to start feeling like myself again, but but pretty much don't have any issues with it since. So very lucky.
When you go through security, does it beep?
No. I wish it. I kind of wish it did. And then I'll be like, oh yeah.
Nah, that'd be annoying because I'd probably have to strip you down every time.
Yeah.
You might as well just do it. Just go. You might as well just go through it naked, mate.
Wow, yeah. I'm sure I'll definitely be thrown in the prison cell. You don't want to see what I'm packing, mate. There's not much to write home about.
Old tripod over there.
No,
bloody good, mate. Sweet. So now you've ended up in Paris, bro. And how's the life over there, man? How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's good. I'd say the first probably 3 months was quite tough. Just big city life, man. Paris is huge. I was a bit of an upgrade, only a slight upgrade from Hamilton, where I'd been living for the last 10 years. So, just things like language, obviously is a big obstacle. Most of our coaches, we've got one English coach. The rest are all in French. So all our meetings,
Oh,
everything's in French. So it's definitely a bit of a culture shock. I'm here by myself at the moment. My missus is still in New Zealand, so I'm just here lone soldiering it for a bit. So it's a big change, and like the Chiefs in Hamilton, New Zealand, and the rugby, the way we play over there I was so comfortable. I was just so it was just me down to a T, really, especially at the Chiefs and at the Magpies. So different style of rugby we play over here. So yeah, it was definitely way outside my comfort zone. But but now I'm feeling real settled. Paris is sick, mate. Paris is such a
yeah,
sick city. Like I love it. I actually love it. It's like impossible to be bored here. There's so much to see and do. Literally any day off I'm doing something. No one
yeah.
knows rugby here in Paris, so
Oh, that's so good.
just fit in. It's not like going down
Yeah.
it's not like going down the main Victoria Street in Hamilton on a night out, and
Oh,
heaps of drunk people trying to come up to you. Just blend in. No one knows. You can sort of just do whatever you like. So
yeah.
loving it, mate. And
And
yeah, top 14, probably the best domestic comp in the world at the moment. So I'm
oh,
testing
how
myself
good.
against some of the best and loving the change, man. So yeah,
And
I'm sure I'll look back in the sit in a pub one day, look back, and be like, "Yo, I'm glad I gave France a
yeah,
go."
absolutely. And um, is there any other foreigners there with you? Or is it just you?
There's no Kiwis. A couple of English guys. There's Joe Marchant,
Oh,
who played
oh yeah.
he played for
He played with the
England.
Blues, eh?
Yeah, he played for the Blues. That's right. Yeah, he had a season there,
Yeah.
so he's pretty well travelled. He's a good lad, great man. Get along really well with him. There's a couple of few South Africans, a couple of a couple of Fijians and Tongans, as there always are in most French teams. And so yeah, we've got a real good foreign crew, which has been
Yeah.
crucial, like seriously crucial.
Yeah.
One of the English guys, he's a 10. He's fluent in French and English, obviously English because he's English.
Oh, you
And that's
beauty.
been a godsend for me. He's been so
So does
handy.
he? And that is so good for you as a nine.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, he's doing like huddles in French and English. It's impressive, man. Like he's an impressive guy, and just been huge
Those
for.
bilingual, those people that can speak different languages, eh? Like bilingual, or whatever. That's crazy, eh?
Oh,
Like,
it is. And
it's
we got
just
so
such
many,
a
so many now. It's so hard, man. Far out. Like learning French has
yeah,
been like one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life. It's an awesome challenge, but geez, it is tough. And we got guys that like he obviously speaks two languages. We got Rafael Costa Storti. He was the gun Portuguese winger in the World Cup. He's done heaps of highlights.
oh yeah,
Um, he's in our team
how
at the
good.
moment. He speaks English, French, Portuguese, Spanish, and Italian. He speaks five languages,
Oh
and
my,
he's just like
what?
and all like he speaks
I can hardly speak
unreal.
English, bro.
Yeah, I know. He speaks better English than me, bro. He's literally like
Oh,
fluent English to all of us. His English is incredible. Obviously, he speaks main French. And then we went to this Italian restaurant, and he was with us, and he starts speaking to the waiter in Italian, and we're like, "What the fuck? You, you're a joke." So
what a
yeah, mate,
weapon.
incredible, just
That's cool,
incredible.
man. And so what you got? Did you say you got a couple of years left over there?
2 more seasons, yeah, and then I'll be 35 and probably be ready to hang it up. I think.
Hung to dry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they
Yeah.
get their pound of flesh over here, mate. It's 30 games of top 14 plus playoffs and Champions Cup. So she's a slog, man. And
Oh,
yeah,
holy
been playing like close to 80 minutes most weeks. So yeah,
man.
the body's feeling it, man.
And so the footy's it's so you're saying it's a different kind of footy. Is it good footy? Are you like not good footy? Like it's different kind of footy. Are you enjoying it? Like because
Uh, the
you're quite a different like a versatile halfback. Like you're quite a running halfback. I don't really know too much, but just telling you what you are, mate. All right.
Well, no, the first season was definitely a learning curve for me, and like we finished second on the table last season, but scored the least amount of points in the whole competition. So the 14 teams, we scored the least. So like our attack was terrible,
And
but
your defense was awesome.
defense was incredible. Which was so I was doing a lot of kicking, like box kicked so much, and then we were just backing our defense the whole time. So I didn't really enjoy that style of play. It doesn't really suit me.
Yeah.
So, but to the point where I went up to our director of rugby and I was like, surely you did your due diligence on me and realized like box
Yeah.
kicking's not really my strength. Okay, I'm more of a
Yeah.
running up tempo sort of a halfback, and to his credit, he sort of said like because he come in after the World Cup, so foundations had already been laid. He was with the French team for the World Cup, so he's like, this is we have to play this way this year, but next season, we've brought you here, we brought these other guys in to play more up tempo, to play a bit more of an attacking style, and so now we're starting to do that. So I'm enjoying it a lot more this season.
Atta boy. Right, that'll just about do us there, Webby. Oh, I got one more question for you. Why do they call you Spud?
Spud. So, do you know the old school NBA basketball player Spud Webb?
Well, not really, but I've heard of him.
He was my height, so he was 5'8".
Oh, was he?
5'8",
really?
played for the Atlanta Hawks, and he won the slam dunk contest.
Holy!
Back in the 80s. Yeah. There's footage of it on YouTube. It's incredible. It's like he's got
Spud Webb.
It's Spud Webb. And so he was an idol of mine because I'd watched all his YouTube clips. This small guy winning the slam dunk contest. And so I used to wear his singlet around everywhere. It's the reason why I support the Atlanta Hawks as well, because it was a Hawks jersey. It's got Webb on the back, so it's like close enough to my name.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to wear it everywhere, certainly through 20s and the Chiefs, to the point where Sam Canes just started calling me Spud Webb, and then obviously it just gets shortened down, and now everyone just calls me Spud. And so it's all
good.
Spud Webb and me wearing his jersey. So
awesome. One more question. That's probably the most important question. Just any advice for people that have pretty much come that are at uni that are striving to people that have gone at uni that are either finished uni and want some direction or some advice moving into future endeavors, I guess.
I'd say biggest thing for me is push yourself into uncomfortable situations. If it's the where you get the most growth is when you be courageous, and when you're fearful, and when you're uncomfortable, and then eventually those uncomfortable situations for normal people start becoming comfortable for you, and you'll thrive. So I'd say do that, and you'll do great things, I think. Pair that with something you're passionate about, and you got a great concoction of success, I think.
Awesome! What a champion! What a story! What a man! What a Scarfie! Thanks, big dog, and your story's been cool. Yeah, the story's been cool, man, and it's I've learned a lot from you throughout the story, especially around the resilience that you showed, the hard work that you put in, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Just the journey that you've had to get to where you are, and it's just a credit to who you are, man. So thanks very much, Webby, or Big Spud.
Yeah.
And all the best for the rest of your career. This season is especially, obviously, and anything else you do post rugby, no doubt you'll be successful. So thanks, man.
Cheers, Huey. Appreciate jumping on and chatting to you, mate. You're a good lad.
Thanks, bro. Right about. Cheerio.
All right, man. Have a good day, eh?
You too, bro. It's only 7:30 here, mate. So
Yeah. Yeah. Cheers for getting up early for me, mate. Appreciate it.
all good, mate. All right, mate. Catch ya.
Bye, bro. Later.